Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jamuna Tiravanachari Jamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jamuna Tiravanachari Jamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jamuna Tiravanachari Jamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Now Vishnu Paramahansa Pracharya Astotara Shishima A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki ISKCON Founder Srila Prabhupada Ki All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Om Vishnu Pai. Hare Krishna. Before I begin speaking, I just want to ask, there are a lot of senior devotees here. I just beg for everybody's blessings. So please give me your blessings before I speak. So we'll begin with the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. We'll start where we finished yesterday. It was on page number 272. Okay, so the chapter entitled The Dream Come True. So this is Srila Prabhupada speaking. Formerly, there was no restriction for going outside. But for a sannyasi like me, I had so much difficulty obtaining the government permission to go out. I had applied for the P form section, but no section was coming. Then I went to the State Bank of India. The officer was Mr. Martachari. He told me, Swamiji, you are sponsored by a private man, so we cannot accept. If you were invited by some institution, then we could consider. But you are invited by a private man for 1 month. After 1 month, if you are in difficulty, there will be so many obstacles. But I had already prepared everything to go. So I said, what have you done? He said, I have decided not to sanction your P form. I said, no, don't do this. You better send me to your superior. It should not be like that. So he took my request and he sent the file to the chief official of foreign exchange. Something like that. So he was the supreme man in the State Bank of India. I went to see him. I asked his secretary, do you have such and such a file? You kindly put it to Mr. Rao. I want to see him. So the secretary agreed and he put the file and he put my name down to see him. I was waiting, so Mr. Rao came personally. He said, Swamiji, I passed your case, don't worry. Following Mrs. Moraji's instruction, her secretary Mr. Choksi made final agreements for Bhaktivedanta Swami since he had no warm clothes. Mr. Choksi took him to buy a wool jacket and other woolen clothes. Mr. Choksi spent about 250 rupees on new clothes, including some new dhotis. At Bhaktivedanta Swami's request, Mr. Choksi printed 500 copies of a small pamphlets containing the 8 verses written by Lord Chaitanya and an advertisement for Srimad Bhagavatam. In the context of an advertisement for the Scindia Steamship Company, Mr. Choksi speaking now, I asked him, why couldn't you go earlier? Why do you want to go now to the States at this stage, at this age? He replied, I will be able to do something good, I'm sure. His idea was that someone should be there who would be able to go near people who were lost in life and teach them and tell them what the correct thing is. I asked him so many times, why do you want to go to the States? Why don't you start something in Bombay or Delhi or Vrindavan? I was teaching him also. You are interested in seeing the States. Therefore, you want to go. All Swamijis want to go to the States and you want to enjoy there. He said, what I have got to see. I have finished my life. But sometimes he was hot-tempered. He used to get angry at me for the delays. What is this nonsense? He would say. Then I would understand he is getting angry now. Sometimes he would say, oh, Mrs. Moraji has still not signed this paper. See, she says, come back tomorrow. We will talk tomorrow. What is this? Why is this delay going on? Why this delay going back? Sorry. He would get angry. Then I would say, you can sit here. But he would say, how long do I have to sit? He would become impatient. Finally, Mrs. Moraji secluded. Finally, Mrs. Moraji scheduled a place for him on one of her ships, the Jaladuta, which was sailing from Calcutta on August 13. She said she had made certain that he would travel on a ship whose captain understood the needs of a vegetarian and a Brahmana. Mrs. Moraji told the Jaladuta captain, Arun Pandya, to carry extra vegetables and fruits for the Swami. Mr. Choksi spent the last 2 days with Bhaktivedanta Swami in Bombay, picking up the pamphlets at the press, purchasing clothes, and driving him to the station to catch the train for Calcutta. He arrived in Calcutta about 2 weeks before the Jaladuta departure. Although he had lived much of his life in the city, he now had nowhere to stay. It was as he had written in his Vrindavan bhajan, I have my wife, sons, daughters, grandsons, everything. But I have no money, so they are a fruitless glory. Although in this city, he had been so carefully nurtured as a child, those early days were also gone forever. Where have my loving father and mother gone to now? And where are my elders who were my own folk? Who will give me news of them? Tell me who. All that is left of this family life is a list of names. Prabhupada Leela ki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 23, and text number 35. Please repeat after me. Dhanyam yasasyam ayushyam swargayam kali malapaham dharmatha kama mokshanam samyak siddhim abhishubhi shraddhayaitat anushravyam chaturanam karanam param dhanyam yasasyam ayushyam swargayam kali malapaham dharmartha kama mokshanam samyak siddhim abhishubhi shraddhayaitat anushravyam Chaturnam karanam param dhanyam yasasyam ayushyam swargayam kali malapaham dharmatha kama mokshanam samyak siddhim abhishubhi shraddhayaitat anushravyam Chaturnam karanam param. But please repeat after me. Dhanyam, the source of riches. Ashasyam, the source of reputation. Ayushyam, the source of an increased span of life. Swargam, the source of elevation to the heavenly planets. Kali, of the age of Kali. Mala afaham, decreasing the contamination. Dharma, religion. Artha, economic development. Kama, sense gratification. Mokshana of liberation, Samyak, completely, Siddhim, perfection, Abhi, Shubhi, by those desiring, Shraddhaya, with great respect. Etat, this narration, Anushravayam, must one hear. Chaturnam, of the four, Aranam, goes, Param, ultimate. Translation purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki. By hearing the narration of the Prithu Maharaj, one can become great, increase his duration of life, gain promotion to the heavenly planets, and counteract the contamination of this age of Kali. In addition, one can promote the causes of religion, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. Therefore, from all sides, it is advisable for a materialistic person who is interested in such things to read and hear the narration of the life and character of Prithu Maharaj. Purport. By reading and hearing the narrations of the life and character of Prithu Maharaj, one naturally becomes a devotee. And as soon as one becomes a devotee, his material desires automatically become fulfilled. Therefore, it is recommended in Srimad Bhagavatam 2.3.10, Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. If a person wants to return home back to Godhead, or wants to become a pure devotee, akama, or wants some material prosperity, sakama or savakama, or wants to merge into the existence of the Supreme Brahman effulgence, mokshakama, is recommended to take to the path of devotional service and hear and chant of Lord Vishnu or of his devotees. This is the sum and substance of all Vedic literatures. Vedascha sarva ahameva vidya. Bhagavad Gita 15.15. The purpose of Vedic knowledge is to understand Krishna and his devotees. Whenever we speak of Krishna, we refer to his devotees also. For he is not alone. He is never nirvisesha or sunya, without variety or zero. Krishna is full of variety, and as soon as Krishna is present, there cannot be any questions, any question of void. Translation again, by hearing the narration of Prithu Maharaj, one can become great, increase his duration of life, gain promotion to the heavenly planets, and counteract the contaminations of this age of Kali. In addition, one can promote the causes of religion, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. Therefore, from all sides, it is advisable for a materialistic person who is interested in such things to read and hear the narrations of the life and character of Prithu Maharaj. Om Jnana Tremendasa Jnananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unlimitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so this verse sounds a little bit contradiction, like as we in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, just in second shloka as it's been mentioned, Dharma Provajita Kaitava, that we hear that this Bhagavad Puran is basically getting rid of any cheating religion. So this is offering, like presenting pure devotional service, pure love of Godhead, and it can be only understood by pure devotee who have really pure heart. But here now we are hearing this verse is talking about all the material things, basically, which and is saying like clearly that it is advisable for a materialistic person who is interested in such things to read and hear the narration of the life of Krishna Maharaj. So there's a little bit of contradiction, right? So on one side, we are hearing in Bhagavatam everywhere, we read like either, we also read in Bhagavatam that every single word in Bhagavatam is full of Krishna Prem, you know, so everything in Bhagavatam is full of Krishna Prem. But how come then we are hearing here, we're reading that this is presenting something for the materialistic people? Like, why it is like that? So I think, and the reason is because I think, as Prabhupada has nicely explained in the purport, just in the beginning, because a lot of people in general, they have a lot of material desires. Because not a lot of us, also speaking myself, when we come to bhakti, we come with a lot of material desires, and then we think somehow like, you know, yeah, if we take up the bhakti, like 4 kind of people come to bhakti. So a lot of the time people have, you know, hidden desires, like they have different motivations. But as we have experienced, and I have experienced myself, if you somehow start performing devotional service, Krishna will fulfill your desires in a way, not like what you initially wanted, but he will give you what you were looking for, but he will fulfill in a different way, you know, that he will purify your desires. Because all our activity and actions, whatever we are doing in our life, is based on desire. Like whatever we are doing, if we don't have desire, you know, we won't do anything. So, and impersonalist people talk about becoming desireless. Actually, it is impossible to achieve. So, if somebody tells you just for one day, just for one weekend, maybe just try to be desireless, have no desire, it is impossible. Your mind just can't be desireless. The desires are, as long as we have this body and mind, the desires will pop up, you know, or automatically. But as I was saying, the activity and actions are based on the desires we have, and our desires are formed based on our knowledge and based on our association. Because we only desire something which we are like, you know, based on our knowledge. If we only think like, yeah, we only have knowledge about material things, so we'll have material desire. But if we have knowledge of spiritual, like if we read Bhagavatam, like our desire will be purified, and by associating with devotees, our desires will be purified, and that has happened to many of us, to me also. So because there are a lot of people who have other desires, but if they start reading Bhagavatam, their desires will be, yeah, fulfilled in a dharmic way. Because here we are hearing about materialistic people, materialistic person. So in general, a materialistic person is someone who, you know, who's after these 4 things: dharma, artha, kama, moksha. 4 this, you know, things he is after. But in Kali Yuga, we don't see even people who so-called materialistic, they have no knowledge about these 4 things. So even if a materialistic person, like we read in the Shastra, like demon, like even Ravana, right? And so many other examples. Those people, they have material desires, but they know the first step to fulfill your material desire is dharma. So dharma, if you follow the dharma, if you lead a life of, if you lead a dharmic life, that lead to artha, economic development, and then sense gratification and liberation. So the first thing is acting piously, acting according to Dharma and scripture. And that requires knowledge. But now we'll see, like, well, not many people have any knowledge how to act, what they're doing, how it's benefiting them. And basically they are just acting in more of ignorance and a little bit of passion. So they have no knowledge about more of goodness. But the real materialistic person, they know about more of goodness and they know about acting piously. And it is also, so if someone who is not acting according to Dharma, I just want to, there's another verse, if you go back a little bit, text 28, it's been described here. So any person who engages himself within this material world in performing activities that necessitate great struggle, and who, after obtaining a human form of life, which is a chance to attain liberation from miseries, undertakes the difficult tasks or fruitive activities, must be considered to be cheated and envious of his own self. So, as we're reading in this verse, so here again another contradiction. So it is written like this verse says, a person who engages himself within this material world in performing activities that necessitate great struggle, who after obtaining a human form of life, which is a chance to attain liberation from miseries, undertakes the task of fruitive activities, must be considered to be cheated and envious of self. So, but in this verse, we are reading that how the fruitive activities are, in this verse talking about fruitive activities, but the other verse is totally, trying to tell us to get rid of all the fruitive activities. So, and it says like the person who has this human form of life, he is not engaged in performing devotional service. He is considered to be cheated or envious of his own self. It is interesting. So what does it mean by envious of his own self? So, because our own self is different, because how we think of our own self as this body. If we think of our own self as to be this body, that means we are in ignorance, because our own self means we are part and parcel of Krishna, we are spirit soul. And if we really think of our own benefit, then we will try to do or act in a way that is beneficial for our own self, for our soul, not just for our body. So, and it says envious, because when you are envious of someone, you don't think of their well-being, right? Because you think of, you don't think of their well-being, you think that, they do something which is not good for them. So when we are not, when we engage in material activities and not performing devotional service, so we being envious to your own self, in one sense. That's why. So a couple of other examples like related to this verse, where it says like, if you keep on reading Bhagavatam, your desires will be fulfilled. Some other examples I can think of, like as one great example is Dhruva Maharaj. Because Dhruva Maharaj, when he started his austerity and he was guided by Narad Muni to do this, and you will get whatever your desires will be fulfilled. He started with different motivation, but as he carry on doing and carry on following the instruction of his spiritual master, his heart became purified. And then later on, when he said, like, I was just after the broken pieces of glass, but now I've found a diamond. So that happens when you start performing devotional service, because devotional service is so sublime and full of like, when it becomes really, really, as we carry on in our spiritual life, like it becomes really sweet, and whatever we are trying to achieve in our life, we will get it in a fast way. And similar, one example is also, I think that also be a good example, Bali Maharaj. So Bali Maharaj, locally speaking, he was a materialistic man. Why? But he acted in a way that he performed devotional service. He offered everything he had to Krishna. And then because he had a desire to rule the world, Krishna fulfilled his desire later on. He surrendered and so Krishna fulfilled the desires. Yeah, so I think this was the main point here, what I can think of this verse, So how, because end of the day, as a devotee, we know that Krishna is the supreme controller. So he is fulfilling all our needs. So some people like people who believe in demigod worship or then some religion, people kind of promote or the religion has been promoted as like if you come and you perform and you do puja worship, then your material life will be, you will live a good material life. And people are trying to approach worship demigods, but ultimately they don't understand then demigods are not, like independent. They are carrying all their power, and whatever blessings they're giving you, it's all sanctioned by Krishna at the end. So if rather than going through the middleman, which is demigod, if we go directly to Krishna, it is good for us. And even it's not like it's pure, like, and quite often we know that as a devotee, we should not ask, we should not ask for anything to Krishna. Because if we're asking, if we have any desire, if we are in stress, and if we are telling Krishna to help us, that is actually in one sense is not pure. But still, even if you are doing that, I think there's no harm. Because if you will do that, like Krishna will fulfill, Krishna will get rid of your stress. But a pure devotee, because a materialistic person, when is in stress or have any, like going through a tough time, materialistic person or person who has some knowledge but not was not fully aware. The person generally is going through some stress. The first thing person, like often speaking, like what that person would do, he would blame God or blame Krishna. Krishna, why are you doing this? As a devotee also, we are not, if we are not, nearby devotees, myself, so we can have the attitude of like, hey, I'm doing so much. I'm going to the church. I'm going to temple. Look at my life. It's just mess and miserable. And what is this? But on the other hand, a pure devotee, even though if he's going through very severe, situation or is in so much stress, he will thank Krishna. He would say, thank you, Krishna, for putting me in this situation. Whatever is happening, you're trying to teach me something, maybe, and there is something good will come out of this situation. How I can see that, please give me the knowledge that, I can learn. And when I come out of this difficult time, I will have more shraddha, faith towards you. And one example, so many examples in Prabhupada's life. When Prabhupada left, when as we were reading Prabhupada Lila Mehta, he was about to leave India and go in Jaladuta. Just in the beginning of his journey, like he went through so much, he had heart attacks and it was quite austere for him. But not even once Srila Prabhupada is blaming Krishna, the situation, he's thanking Krishna. praying to Krishna, as and which is yeah, good lesson for all of us to learn. Yeah, how to act, because quite often, as we hear, like if somebody is going through difficult time, they will be very sincere and very dedicated in their spiritual life and performing, you know. But as soon as their life becomes a little bit stable and they're happy, then they forget Krishna. That's what happened generally. You're talking about, yeah, people, you know, with demigod worship, because quite often, and I was like that too myself, because I would only go to the temple when I need something, and when I get that thing, if somehow, like, you know, then I would forget about going to the temple or, like, you know, worshiping demigods. Yeah, but so that can happen, you know. But yeah, so yeah, I think that's pretty much it. All I can think of. That's what my realization and my experience. And thank you for hearing. And yeah, I would like to request if anybody, because who is still a bit different than what we normally read in Bhagavatam. If anybody here would like to add something or any comments or anything else, yeah, please. Yeah. So Prabhu is saying that if I can elaborate on, I was talking about the soul, and so how can we understand, and how can we have a better understanding of soul, right? And how I understand, right, like how we can act in a way that is better for the soul. So I think how we can understand the soul better, like if, because that is our main teaching from the very beginning, like when we come to bhakti, we've been taught that we are not the body, we are not the mind, we are something else. And so when we are doing anything, quite often, so any activity we are doing, any actions we're performing, we are doing it for the benefit for self. Nobody wants to do something which they know that will bring them any pain or that will bring them any harm, right? That even person who is not spiritual, like nobody does something to harm themselves. People do things to yeah, bring pleasure or like bring comfort or bring, you know, relief for themselves. They're having some, you know, thing, some suffering. Or if we don't understand who we actually are, then if we think like we're this body, then we are only acting in a way just to satisfy the needs of our body, and then in one sense, we're not being honest to ourselves. You know, then we are just we are doing something which they're not acting in like in 100% for our well-being, as I was saying before. But and you can understand because we are something we're not body and mind, because our body and mind is always changing, and the pleasure which we are seeking, which is related to our body and mind, it only lasts for a little bit. And the pleasure which is not related to body and mind, that pleasure is basically has no beginning or end. That will last forever, right? So funny thing, I was thinking one example came in my mind. I was listening to one of class, Amita Maharaj, and somebody asked him a question at the end. He said, like, how do I know that the happiness I'm getting by chanting Mahamantra, or the happiness I'm getting from jumping from doing a scuba diving or something is different? Because both the happiness has beginning or end. So he replied, he said, the happiness you're getting from Mahamantra, performing devotional service, chanting Mahamantra, it doesn't have to end, and it doesn't end. But then the person replied, no, but because we are chanting, we're doing our japa, but when we go outside, we leave our house and then it's interrupted. We're not deriving that happiness. So no, you can carry on doing that. You don't have to stop chanting. And then the person was saying, like, what if we get interrupted? Like, no, but even if you're interrupted, once you are chanting, like, with purity, the chanting never stops. And that happiness never goes down. But the happiness you're getting from jumping from, doing scuba diving, that only lasts that gives you a thrill for a little bit, and then it goes down. So I think that is the example, like, you're saying, because when we are doing something which is related to body, it will only last for a little bit. And when we start doing something that's performing spiritual activity, devotional service, in the beginning, we might not understand, as this person who was asking the question, but later on, like, if we carry on and our desires fulfilled, and we try to, see ourselves that we are not the body, we are soul, then I think we will be happy. And then we are acting for our own benefit, or for real benefit, not just for things which are related to our body, but for soul. Does it make sense? But I would, if anybody has anything to add, Jal Shila Prabhu, please. And that's what I'm speaking on, based on my realization and understanding. But if something can add on, anybody else? That's what my understanding is. Anything else? Yeah. So just, I'll repeat the question. Prabhu is asking, he's never been to the temple, and he is wondering the rituals they perform at the temple, are they taking it from the Vedas, or they may, it's been made up? I would say it's kind of a mixture of both. Because based on my real, people have, especially in India, people have understanding of Vedas. There's a lot of things they're doing being mentioned, but some of the things over the time they made it up. So yeah, I think, because trying to think of an example. Yeah, I think good example.
Just on it.
So maybe initially we will have knowledge of Vedas, according to Vedas. But if the person who never read Vedas, who never read Shastras, and they started doing it, like then they can make it up by themselves. They don't know what is the actual purpose we're doing this, and what is the actual vidhi, like what is the proper way of doing it. So over the time, like maybe the person who was doing it, like they knew, but the person who is just learning by looking at someone, or because I think it's a very funny example came to my mind. I think I'll share it. So uh, I think once there was a wedding ceremony, and during the wedding, during the what do you call fire yagya, when the the couple going around the fire, there was a cat, and the cat was going around everywhere, just going on this stuff which was there for yagyas. And so what uh, the girl who was getting married, her mother did, she brought a big kind of basket and then put it on top of the cat, because I think that was their family cat. And so the main reason was so the cat stopped disturbing the yagya. And so the wedding ceremony happened and everything was done. So what happened then later on, the girl who was getting married that time, when she married, she had kids, she had a daughter, and the time the daughter grew up, and it was time to do the wedding for her daughter. And when everything was set up, and yeah, but she think, oh wait, one thing, something is missing. And when people were asking what is missing, it's like when at my wedding there was a cat underneath the basket. So we need the cat in the basket. So somebody, if we don't have that, then this won't be completed. That the yagya won't be complete. So please bring a cat in a basket. So that is a good example of when you don't really know why they have done that, and you don't ask question, and you never read the Sastra. So it can, over time, as generations go on, and it happened in India a lot, because people have never asked any question, just blind faith, and then that is the reason people have lost faith in their religion and their, uh, yeah, their family tradition. Because after coming, because yeah, I was like that too. For some of the things I was doing, like never ask question. I knew these are good, but why we are doing it? But after coming in association with devotees, going to the loft, yeah, I was asking a lot of questions. Yeah, a lot of questions. So, I think you were saying something. Mm. Yeah. Thank you. And also, I think I have seen, because in people like in India, they, if you have most of the homes have altar in the home, but quite often you'll see there's like every demigod on the altar, because people are scared. They don't want to upset like anyone, because they want to make sure that all the demigods are happy. They are, you know, if that's a family tradition, like this been going on, and so because they don't have the proper understanding, yeah, people like will keep very small photos of all the demigods. They're out of fear, because like when you don't have proper knowledge, then you're acting based on fear, and then when you're in fear, like you want to make sure that you want to satisfy everyone. But as we know, uh, Mare Krishna Rakeke and Rake Krishna Marike. If Krishna decides to kill someone, then nobody can save him. But if Krishna decides to save someone, then nobody can kill him. So, yeah, when Krishna is satisfied, then we don't have to worry about it, even if the whole world is upset with us. It's contradict, because if Krishna is satisfied, everything is in Krishna, so everybody will be happy with that. But what I'm saying is like, then you don't have to worry about like these small demigods. Krishna is happy with that. Okay, let's stop here. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki